Welcome to episode 100 of the Camerosity Podcast, the world's first and only open source film and digital photography podcast. My name is Mike Ekman, and can you believe it? This is the 100th episode of the show. Originally started one spontaneous night in May 2021, this has turned into one of the most popular and informative podcasts of its type. Although this show has regular hosts, it is you, the listeners, who make the show what it is. In the last episode, we didn't open the call-in lines as the hosts wanted to catch up on things we have been working on, including various vacations, projects, and recent gas pickups. But for this, our Centennial episode, the call-in lines are open, and boy, do we have a lot of people in the waiting room. Since so many people are eager to chat with us, we'll skip the normal host introductions and get right to it. We have a lot of people that just popped in all at the same time.
Who's this John Sisson guy?
Hello, Mike.
Hello.
Hey, guys.
Hello.
Hello.
I'm going to go through this real quick.
I can't believe it.
We've been missing you guys.
Yes, we're back. We have some people with Camerosity shirts on. I'm going to go through the list really quick here, Lee. There's AJ, Johnny Sisson is back, Alex Luyckx, Todd Gustavson, Marwan from Silvergrain Classics is here, Pat Casey, Bob Rotoloni, Wayne Scheipers, William Ponder, Dan Tamarkin, Will Pinkham, and Eric's iPad. I think that's Eric. Well, he'll probably say hi a little bit there later. Real quick, congratulations to Mr. Dan Tamarkin for getting hitched. You just got married, right?
Thank you.
Hey,
Yeah.
congratulations. Fantastic. Congrats.
Congratulations.
Who's the lucky lady?
Her name is Susan Wingirter. She is a teacher here in Chicago, teaching elementary school. My partner in crime, and I'm her getaway driver.
Nice. And she just recently inherited a whole bunch of Luyckx, apparently.
Yeah, she's a deluxe shooter. So the story goes, before I asked her out, I sold her a Deluxe 5. I asked her out and was like, "Hey, we should go out shooting. Let's go take some pictures together." And then the rest is really history. She got a upgrade to a Deluxe Type 109, and so she's a couple of models behind the current, but still very fine photographer in her own right.
Well, that's good. Well, tell her we're excited for you guys, and I saw that online, so I wanted to quickly point it out. Congrats.
And is she catching up to our episodes, Dan?
I have been, slowly but surely.
Yeah. There's 99 others to listen to, so 100. Hey, Marwan.
Hello, good morning.
Middle of the night for you. Always love seeing you here in the middle of the night for you. So
I'm
we do
glad
appreciate
that I'm here too.
appreciate your time. Now, even though this is our 100th episode and we're pretty excited about that, it seems like the timing worked out really well, that you're pretty excited about something too. Do you want to quickly share with us what that is?
Well, I don't know if you follow our Instagram account, but just a few days ago, there was the International Panoramic Convention in the United States, and Jeff and Susan and Karis and we had a common video where we showed our first prototype, number 0001 of the Luyckx, the first working prototype. And so kind of like things are going really straightforward, and you'll soon be able to get this camera also.
Marwan, are we calling it a Luyckx X? Is that...
Yes, it's a Luyckx X. The X was a little bit of wordplay because we had a law firm just being responsible to get us all the trademarks and all that stuff. And we thought that the latest model was the Luyckx F8 that could be bought. And then we thought, okay, let's do a prototype that will be the F9. And so an F10 would also be the extension, and the Roman X is also a 10. So it was kind of like a play with that, just to give it a new design. Yeah,
it's fun to put X's following things,
Exactly.
Didn't Microsoft skip Windows 9? They just went from 8 straight to 10. So
yes,
there's a precedent there for that, I
and
guess.
There's also SpaceX and all that stuff.
So I know we've had on the show before, but do you want to just give a real quick 2-minute introduction as to what you guys were doing with that camera and what's new about it?
Well, in fact, it's not Silvergrain Classics that's doing the camera. It's Silver Bridges. We founded a company together with Jeff Bridges, my wife, Karis. By the way, I married her in Chicago, so I love that city. So just like
Nice.
town hall there. So I love Chicago also. So it's a very nice city. We founded a company, and the idea was to bring back the Luyckx. That's now a few years ago. I think in 2020 we started with that. We had Jeff Bridges in an interview with us, and Jeff was. I have to say, there are a lot of celebrities that from screen, and you think, oh, I hope they are like you think they are, and most of the time they are not, because on screen people are totally different. But he's such a wonderful person, and he was exactly the person we love to talk to. And after a while, after more than an hour interview, he just asked us where we are in Germany, where we're located. And then we said, well, we are in the region of Frankfurt, between Frankfurt and Wetzlar, where Luyckx is located. And then he said, oh, well, you guys could ask the folks at Luyckx if they can bring back the Luyckx. And I just thought that's a joke. One of these things where you just say, wouldn't be nice if this or that Kodachrome comes back, and if someone would make it and stuff like that. So we really thought this was wordplay. And I just think, okay, we'll ask them next time when we are there, because we are very often at Luyckx. And a week later, one of his assistants wrote us back and said, well, Mr. Bridges would like to know, did you have any success with your request at Luyckx? So was that serious? And we just said, yes. So obviously. So then we started seriously to investigate that. And it just took a few talks with some people here. And if you know the region around Wetzlar and all the suppliers there, for more than a century now, the city is so much into optical systems. There are defense companies, there are even photographic companies, microscope manufacturing, suppliers, everything you find there. And in a circle around 20 kilometers around Wetzlar, you can get everything that you need in order to make a mechanical camera. And there are also the people who knew that. And the Luyckx is not very complex in making. It needs a little bit of skills, and you have to know what to do. And it sounds very short now and very easy. It is not that easy to make a reverse engineering, because it's as difficult as making a new camera, because you have other problems than designing a new camera. But it worked so far, and we couldn't believe it. Just a few weeks ago, we just decided, okay, we have to go now with our prototype 0001. We have to go to public, because last year Jeff made a promise about 2025, something like that. I don't know if you have seen the Kimmel show where he just mentioned something about that. So
how close are we then? I mean, I'm not expecting a date.
We are very, very, very close. I mean, the thing is, I mean, the prototype that we announced today is, when you read the press release, everything is written in the past, and we are kind of like, we wouldn't have said anything about that prototype if we weren't sure that the rest is just working. Imminent
release, hopefully.
Yes.
Awesome.
In the press release, it had a shiny brass body.
Yes.
Are you going to do that as an option? Because that looks really freaking cool.
It looks great. And that was the next thing, because during that convention, there was that video where we explained that. In a few days, you'll see that video also on our website on Luyckx.com. Well, the brass thing is, the material brass is used for camera manufacturing quite in the past very often. I mean, Luyckx are made in brass, Luyckx, and so it is the material to use for a camera, and so that's what we did. Without the coating, you can see that brass, and it looks really sexy, I have to say.
It is
absolutely
pretty. Well, here's to hoping for multiple cosmetic options for the new Luyckx.
The only disadvantage, if you have brass and you do not have a coating on it, it gets kind of like an oxide layer on it. It gets greenish, and even if you make
that's vintage. That makes it more vintage.
Yeah.
Just ship a complimentary can of Brasso with it.
Well, yeah. Oh, I mean, especially for the steampunk community, I'm pretty sure we have.
It'll a patina. We call it a patina.
Yeah, that's
A
right.
nice
Yeah.
patina after a while.
Yeah. I mean, if the demand is there, we'll make one in brass. I mean, that's the manufacturing process. Well, this camera that we had, this prototype that you can see there, is mainly handmade. There's our technician Wolfgang. He just was really working very, very carefully, doing nearly everything by hand. And I think it must have been the most expensive camera I ever had in my hand when I just transported it to the video shoot, and I just just kind of like couldn't believe how much that all cost for a prototype. But yeah, it is. It's beautiful, and it's not really practical to have a brass camera, just to say. I mean, the original Luyckx has this wrinkle paint on it. First of all, it has this very soft grip, and it's also not slipping in your fingers. You don't see fingerprints on it, and it has some advantages. So, what we are doing is that we're doing a lot of tests also, because the idea was not to go into a typical crowdfunding process where you have nothing, where you say you have an idea and we meet money. It was, in this case, the idea was, we're going to make something and we're going to prove to the community that we can make one and that we have the evidence that the camera is working. And then we're gonna tell, okay, you want one, tell us. And before we're going to go to the public with an order option and all that stuff, we want to make sure that the camera has the quality level that we all expect from a camera.
Very cool.
And it's kind of like, yeah, so that also includes training for technicians and all that stuff, that we have also kind of like possibilities to service the camera, because Jeff and Susan, from the first moment, their idea was to have something that lasts generations. It shouldn't. Their idea is more the Leica M than the classic Luyckx, because the original Luyckx is good, but it's also having some kind of problems. So we want to get rid of all these problems.
With that prototype, I haven't obviously seen the video yet, but has Jeff himself actually handled that prototype? And if he has, what thoughts has he had on it?
No, we have the prototype here in Germany because we need it here. Our technicians are working with it. So the prototype is at the moment in Germany, but it will going to soon be shipped to the United States. What we had was the convention about panoramic photography was in the United States. So, and we used that one, the International Panoramic Photography Society, to use that as the best place, because they contacted Jeff and they asked if he just wanted to make a speech. They didn't even know that we're going to announce the prototype there, so they just got some kind of, I mean, some extra to that to that speech that Jeff made there. Brilliant.
Yeah. Can you comment about the lens?
Yes.
Do you have any specifics that you can discuss about the lens?
The lens will be the same lens technologically, like the original lens, because one of the things is, when you do a reverse engineering, is that there is a reason why those people who made this camera went with this design for quite a long time. We all have a limited budget in order to do the design and research and reverse engineering and the prototyping. We wouldn't want to experiment on the first level with a new lens design. And the second thing is that the lens design in a Luyckx, or especially in a panoramic camera that using the swing lens technology, is a total different demand than, for example, a Hasselblad X-Pan. The Hasselblad X-Pan has no moving lens. The wide angle lens that's attached to a Hasselblad X-Pan has to project the image into the entire frame. And for the Luyckx, it's a total different thing, because you just have that slit that is exactly in the center of the lens. And that is the maximum quality part of each lens. Design-wise, the demand on lenses of this type is much less than on on for example, the 30 millimeter lens on the Hasselblad X-Pan, with the advantage that you have no vignetting with the wide lux. You have no distortion in terms of the Zeppelin heads on the edges that you find with other wide angle designs. And we have a much bigger viewing angles. For example, the Hasselblad X-Pan with a 30 millimeter and a little bit bigger negative size has a viewing angle of 90 degrees, whereas the wide lux is above 130 degrees. So it is much, much wider. And at the edges, you don't have kind of like cigar or Zeppelin effects.
Excellent. We have 20 people here, so I'm sure we're going to have some more questions for you, Marwan, but let's move on. I wanted to say hi to Todd Gustavson from the George Eastman House. Like Marwan, this wasn't intended, but we probably all on this call are aware that Kodak has had some somewhat exciting news, and I thought maybe you might have something to comment on with Rochester Eastman Kodak producing film now for the first time in, is it 10 years?
Well, actually, they've always been producing film. They weren't selling film. They were selling it through a distributor. So now they're selling direct to stores, certain types of film. So it's a little unusual, kind of a complicated thing. Maybe I'll know more on Thursday. Well,
okay. Yeah, because I got some of the new the 100 already. I have the first roll loaded in a camera, but I haven't finished it yet to really see what it looks like, because I've previously was a huge fan of Pro Image 100, but that's gotten to be a lot harder to come by lately. So they had really pushed this being no longer a Kodak Alaris product. But would you say that is that more marketing or is there truth to that?
Alaris is the distributor for film. Now Kodak is also selling their film direct to dealers.
That's what it is then. Okay.
Yeah, so it's a little confusing, and like I said, we're having our board meeting on Thursday. So with some luck at all, I can ask a few questions and maybe get some answers. I can tell you that we're actually selling black and white film at the museum now. We started that the end of last week, courtesy of Richard Rowe Photographic, who sold his store, and he's basically supplying it to us now.
Which films?
We have black and white film. So this Tri-X, T-Max, and P3200.
Awesome. Very cool.
So Todd, I wanted to ask, what else is new at the museum? You got anything going on? Any new exhibits or any new acquisitions?
Let's see. First of all, this is the museum's tail end of our 75th anniversary. So for that, I actually have a number of things on display. We have our, famous photographers' cameras on display. So we've got cameras owned by or used by Stieglitz and Steichen and Coburn. So that's along the lines of that. We also have the earliest known Eastman camera on display. It's actually Eastman interchangeable view. With the lowest serial number that I've ever seen. It was actually never sold by the company. That's on display. We have Steve Sasson's digital cameras on display, which are on loan to us by Eastman Kodak Company. Currently on display in our other galleries, we have an exhibition called American Born Hungary. It's actually an exhibition of photographers from Hungary who actually moved to America, so pretty well-known group of individuals there. We're redesigning some galleries that'll go into the mansion about George Eastman, which we've never really done this before, so we'll actually be talking about his early life and how the company was formed. We've usually kind of kept that somewhat at a distance. There will be a wall of cameras, if you would, kind of a camera hall of fame that I'm working on at the moment. It's basically not a huge group, but it will be 18 of what I consider to be the most important cameras that were introduced after 1888. I can't tell you what they are because we're still keeping it a secret. You can probably guess, I don't know, 2 or 3 of them right off the top of your head.
The medalists better be in there.
It's actually a real challenge when you narrow it down into a very small space as to what is important and what people consider. So I sort of divided it up into about 3 areas: snapshot, professional, and digital. So it's really kind of interesting how this is panning out. So that's kind of where we're going at the moment. Obviously, the Dryden is open for motion picture stuff also this week, so we still project real films.
Very cool. Yeah, it sounds like an exciting exhibition. Like I said, I'd love to get there. It definitely won't be next week, though. But if I ever do, I will be sure to give you a heads up, as I think any listener of the show should too, is if you have that opportunity, definitely take it and go visit Todd, get a tour. If he's not even there, at least you could say you were there, and maybe you could buy some T-Max from the gift shop. So,
And Rochester is just a cool town.
yeah.
It is. Go visit. The museum is spectacular.
Rochester is such an amazing town. I've had the chance to visit the museum a couple of times. I've had a chance many times to go into the abandoned subway also before they locked that one down.
We were not a stop on the abandoned subway.
Down in the tunnel, they had the Eastman employee store where you could buy Kodak branded tennis shoes, sweatshirts, and all kinds of shit. So we would go. I went twice or two or three times a year to marketing seminars that were held there, and I loaded up. I spent several $100s each trip just on Kodak stuff. Brought it home for my industrial customers.
So one thing I didn't mention about recent acquisition, actually, Arnold Newman's son, Eric, has donated a pretty good number of his cameras that he used to the museum. So we've got a really nice collection of cameras used by Arnold Newman. So some Nikons and some Hasselblads and various other things like that. And they are well used.
Yes, the best kind. We just heard from Alex. Welcome back, Alex. How you doing?
A little tired, but doing okay.
A little tired? It can't be that late by you.
It's been very busy here.
Very busy. Anything exciting?
No, not really.
What about the site? Any recent activity you've posted?
I just wrapped up a classic film review on FK 50, and I'm very happy to say that I've acquired a brick of FK 25 for a review next year, along with a whole pile of neofin blue and red, like the original stuff.
I have a 100-foot roll that Paul had gave me from Dan Arnold of the FK 25, and I can almost guarantee you're going to love it. It ages very well. It can be developed in pretty much anything, and it has the characteristics that I love in Panatomic X of incredible amounts of shadow detail, which is my favorite thing to see in black and white films. So I'm eager to see your results and what you can get, because you're probably going to do your thorough multiple developers like you usually do, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
D76.
But don't use stop bath. Don't use stop bath with FK25.
Just straight water. Oh yeah.
Yes.
No, yeah. D76, HC110, Rodinal, and I think neofin blue.
Yeah, thinner a little bit. Just dilute it. Just don't do it in a full concentration, because neofin blue is absolutely the best, because I think it was the guy who developed the emulsion for FK was also the guy who made that was Dr. Beutler from
and this is original stuff that I'm going to be using.
Yeah, that's an excellent developer.
Yeah.
Well, Alex, maybe you have a collaboration with Marwan upcoming for this. It sounds like he's a fan.
Well, the FK25 is excellent for panoramic photography, by the way. If you just that's really a very good film, especially in terms of resolution.
Well, I would be more than happy to do a review of the new Luyckx camera for you.
Oh, no. He's not a member of the show. He's only a guest.
We know each other, so you just send me an email. Maybe we can talk about that.
There we go.
And if you're looking for a home for the prototype, I can think of a place.
Well, okay. Maybe there's a cooperation with Kodak possible. Maybe there could be, because Jeff is also a big fan.
And then don't forget the Southern Hemisphere here. I mean, you need Southern Hemisphere representation.
We're going to have to add networking to our list of accolades to this podcast.
Yeah. Well, I can't say more now. So I think I said already too much.
No, you did good. You did good. It's great to have you guys here sharing what you've been working on. One more person who completely fell off the face of the planet, disappeared from social media entirely, and resurfaced recently at the best time to be on Facebook is Mr. John Sisson. Hey, John.
Hey, how are you?
Is it John, or do we still call you Johnny? Like, I don't even remember.
Yeah, you can call me Johnny. That's fine. This is probably the last vestige of my foray back into the advertising world that nearly killed me. So I have John on here, so I sound professional.
Yeah.
But yeah, I disappeared and sold my soul yet again to work somewhere where I could actually make some money and make a living. And then, of course, that didn't work out for more than a year. Got totally burned out. And hey, now I'm back doing this stuff again.
Where are you working now?
I am back at Central Camera, and I'm now, I guess I can officially say, running Central Camera.
Wow.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah.
Wow.
So is Don out of the picture, or is he
No,
just...
no, not at all. By running, I mean I am the day-to-day
Okay.
operations. Don is still very much the owner and operator. It is absolutely still the family business it has always been. He's just sort of taken a step back, recently, and he's not down at the shop every day. And so there was an opportunity to sort of come back with somebody who had worked quite a long time leaving. So I kind of jumped back in, and the timing was indeed the way it all lined up was very interesting. So,
Well, that's
so
great to hear.
I left Central Camera to go work somewhere, and then I came back because I love working at Central Camera.
That's
So,
great. Yeah,
yeah.
that's awesome. We last time you were here was shortly after you'd reopened. So I had gone
Oh,
down
yeah.
there to visit. The walls were just white. A lot of stuff were on kind of like temporary shelvings.
Yeah.
For someone who hasn't been there in the past couple of years, can you just quickly describe how the store looks now? Or
Well, it actually looked very much the way you were describing it until about a month and a half ago when I
okay,
started there. And I was like, you guys, we need to like actually make this a place that people want to walk into and find things
sure.
versus stuff kind of scattered everywhere and randomly priced and this and that. So that's sort of what I've been trying to do is bring a little order to it, make it a nice experience for folks coming in and have some, nice things in there again to sell and have a lot of film. And that's kind of where we're headed right now. So,
Well, if you have a small like apparel section in the back, maybe we could partner up and get you some Camerosity Podcast
yes,
t-shirts.
we
Could
now have a
sell.
large apparel section in the front because
Ooh.
everybody comes in wants a t-shirt. It's ridiculous. We've sold since, I don't know, 5 or 6 years ago when we started making t-shirts. We have sold thousands of Central Camera t-shirts. It's
That's awesome.
ridiculous. Yeah, it's like I think we're one of the most well-known, odd, niche little camera related brands on the planet right now. It's really interesting. People come in from all over the world, and the first thing they do is grab a t-shirt.
Well, I
So
think the sign helps you guys tremendously.
we are blessed with having a beautiful modernist, neon sign script logo out front that lends itself really well to a typographic element, to a logo. And the value of that is sort of indescribable because it's so recognizable. I mean, people just in the last, and this is not a new experience, it's always been that way, but just people in the last 2 weeks from, France, all over Europe, South America, wherever. And people tell me that like this was part of what I planned when I came to the US was to come to Central Camera. I mean, it's amazing. We just the recognition that it has as a brand is really, it blows my mind, so.
Well, John, it makes me so happy to hear you again.
Oh,
I've really
thanks,
missed you.
Anthony. It's good to see you too, man. It's good to hear your
Good to see you.
voice. Yeah, you too. You too. I've missed this whole crew and community quite a bit, so it's neat to be
Yeah.
back involved again. So,
So you're now announcing that you're podcasting again, Johnny?
oh hell no.
A step too far.
I wouldn't do this for anybody except for Mike Eckman and you guys. I couldn't. Mike said, "Hey, we're gonna do the 100th podcast," and I'm still amazed that this thing just took off and it kept. I'm not amazed because Mike, I told you way back when, right? You needed
Yeah.
to do a podcast, and this is why, because you are a mad genius of camera stuff, and everybody wants in on this. And I love that you've just gone wild with it. I mean, the podcast I did, to me was, we were goofing around. This is like, you're doing the real deal, man. This is like, this podcast blows my mind. The amount of stuff that you guys cover and the people who are here and the people that love you and the people that all love each other. I mean, it's a beautiful thing, So
well, you can go a long way on cocaine and waffles.
that was my theory. Yeah.
two shows. Yeah, we Paul and I have gone to the last few camera shows in Cincinnati, and last year Anthony flew up to go to one. So we had three of the hosts all at the show. And while the show itself is very good and the people who run it are very good, there has to be an element of this podcast is like bringing more traffic into there, because Paul's even said this too. Every show has topped the previous record for attendance.
That's amazing.
And you're not always seeing that at the other shows. And people ask us, why don't you come to our show? It's like, well, I'm actually going there for a reason, not really to promote anything. I am really selling stuff. So, but you had mentioned, Johnny, that first time you had recommended to me to maybe start my own podcast. We were interviewing somebody. Do you remember who that person was?
Oh, you know what? I don't recall, but you're right.
I'll give you a hint. They're here.
I figured this was a trick question, Mike.
That's supposed to be a segue.
Okay.
So we got Bob Rotoloni here.
Oh, there we go. Yeah. Okay. Yep.
How you doing?
Hey, Bob.
Hi, Johnny. How
are you? Good, man. Okay. How about yourself? It's good to see you.
All right.
Good.
Hanging in there. Getting older every day.
Yeah, we all are.
Do you have any plans for another Nikon Historical Society newsletter? Is there one in the works?
It's digital right now. Stephen Gandy is kind of like taking it over, and he's put it on his rangefinder forum. That's the only source for it now. It's gonna stay digital. Yeah, no more printing. I do occasional articles for it, and he does. And we have about, I don't know how many members he has now, but he runs a pretty good forum. He has a lot of traffic on it, so we're getting a lot of people from all over the world actually rejoining. And I'll be doing some more articles for it as soon as I catch up with some time here. But that's how we had to go. We had to go with digital. The cost of printing and all that just got out of hand. So
yeah, oh yeah, for sure, and shipping too.
Well, you can't do printed matter anymore like that. It was costing me like $700 for each issue just to mail them out all over the world 4 times a year. So I'm spending $3,000 a year just at the post office, right? And then the cost of printing went up. Everything else went up. It just got to the point where I was losing money every issue. There's no way you can make money at it anymore. So
that makes sense. Yeah, I mean, it's the reality of things. It's hard to do. I mean, even though you want to do it and you love that tangible feel, which is the appeal of film.
I did 165 issues, 41 years, and I felt the end was there. You know what I mean? You just reach a point where it's just, and my wife was ill and she eventually passed. So that I wouldn't have been able to got the 166 issue never would have gotten out because that's when she was sick. So, it's just, things change.
Well, we're glad you're still around, able to keep contributing to in every way possible. But
well, I get a lot of emails.
Yeah, you should be proud of that.
Well, 141 years. Yeah, there's a lot of. If you stand in front of a magazine rack today, you're not going to see very many titles out there that have been around for 41 years.
No,
the magazine industry is in the toilet anyway. But everything's changed. Everything's changed.
Hey, Mike.
Yeah.
Weren't you just shooting a fancy Nikon rangefinder this last week?
I was. I wanted to take out a camera that I've been wanting to shoot for quite a while. People have encouraged me to use it, but I've been terrified to take it away from the house. But I have this brand new in the box, one of the Millennium Edition Nikon S3 cameras, the black painted ones. I have a regular S3 and I've shot it, so I know what it's like, but I was like, you know what, just do it. That's actually the camera I loaded the Kodak 100, the new film in. So I haven't finished the roll, but I thought, that lens is beautiful. The one that I have, I think, has never been shot before. It still had the little paper covering the film gate when you open the film door. I wanted to just go out and, see what I could do with it. I mean, I kind of know what to expect because, the lens is very famous, but having the ability to shoot the closest thing that I'll ever have to a brand new Nikon rangefinder is something that I just knew one day I had to do. So I pulled the trigger, I loaded it up. I did put it in its ever-ready case, so it's kind of protected a little. I obviously trust a case from 2000 a lot better than I would from the 1950s. And I just hold my breath every time I leave the house with it, because if I were to be the person to damage this camera, I would just be devastated. So I'm really hoping I can get through that full first roll and share some shots with it, and maybe talk a little bit about that camera, because even though that is the new Nikon rangefinder, it's already a quarter century old. So when the re-release is borderline vintage itself, there's a bit of a paradigm there that I think is fascinating to talk about.
Well, Mike, is it the S3 2000? Just the Millennium?
S3.
That's not a big deal. Is it silver or black?
Black.
Okay. So, Robert, I may have asked you this question before. Is it really true that they repainted all the silver cameras that the dealers couldn't sell? They sent them back to Japan and had them painted black?
When they first came out with that as a chrome camera, I was kind of like against it. I said then they should have done black in the first place. Okay. The chromes did not move that well. A lot of them did go back. They may have done that. They may have stripped the chrome off and repainted them, or they may just put whole new plates on it, period. But that camera was basically hand built. There was actually about 20 people involved with assembling that camera in one room. So they could do that. They could take all the old panels off, either dechrome them and paint them, or just throw them out and redo it, But they could have done that. We've heard rumors about that, because the black one should have been made in the first place. The chrome one was a failure.
I would hope that they were smart enough to strip the plating off before painting it, because anytime I've ever seen a chrome camera get repainted, chrome is too slippery. It doesn't stick.
Yeah, no, it had to be stripped.
It had to have been. Yeah.
Well, the one I have, I bought it from a friend in New York, and it's in my permanent collection.
Yeah.
And you should use that camera. Don't just make it a shelf queen. I mean, it's just a terrific camera to shoot.
Well, that's why I'm doing it. Yeah, I mean, it's loaded now, and I just every time I load up a camera, I think I'm going to take it out and go through a whole roll, and something ended up coming up, and I shoot 2 pictures, and then I'm stuck with a roll of 34 exposures left to go, and I have to keep trying to find things to shoot, and I get bored shooting the same things around my house over and over again. So I feel like I have this wonderful camera and this great opportunity. Plus, I'm super excited to see the new Kodak 100 film and what it can do. And I've almost hyped it up in my head so much that I don't know where to go. Like I should probably go visit Johnny downtown Chicago and take some pictures of the homeless people sitting under the L.
Hook up with Han. Han would give you the guided tour.
Yeah, you're right.
Those Millennium cameras, there's rumors out there that Nikon didn't make all those parts. There was a lot of things that were subcontracted out, small things, control knobs and whatever. And supposedly about 10,000 pieces were ordered of things like the wind levers and the rewind hubs and all this kind of stuff. So they were thinking about making 10,000 of those, but it never even got close. It just never made it.
You have inspired me though, Mike, because I pulled out the S2 this week, actually, and that's become my carry to work into the city camera for the next couple of weeks.
Of the original models, the S2 is still my favorite.
Yep.
The only one I've shot Robert's M, and it worked great. I've shot S, S2, S3, the SP. I've not done the S4, but of all the original Nikon rangefinders that I've shot film through, the S2 is my favorite. I know I've shared that many times. It's the right combination of simplicity with a great viewfinder. But there's 23 people in the waiting room here, and I'm hesitant to just have everybody start speaking. Greg McCreash has jumped in since we started. Nick Marshall jumped in. I think Patrick Rapp snuck in here too. I'm still trying to go through here everybody that's here. We got a lot of awesome guests here with so much to talk about. This show could be 4 hours long, but does anybody want to ask a question of any of the people who've spoken so far, or share something new that anybody is working on that's especially interesting?
Actually, I have a question.
All right, Patrick.
I have a question for John. I made my pilgrimage the first time to Central Camera, and frankly, I like rummaging through that stuff.
Well, then I have good news for you. Does the name Darkroom Aids ring a bell for anybody here?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
So Darkroom Aids was always my favorite, other than Central, which was always my favorite, even as a kid. But Darkroom Aids was always my favorite photo thing in Chicago because it was bins and bins and bins full of everything.
Al Schwartz, yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
right. So in homage to Darkroom Aids at Central Camera, I now have a section about 20 feet long and about, I don't know, 4 feet wide with all these plastic, they're like these crates they use for transporting vegetables and fruits and vegetables and stuff, these collapsible crates full of like bargain rummage camera stuff. So I'm trying to get it, and it's really, what's really funny is I have one of these things full of like front lens caps and another one full of back and body lens caps, and people rummage through it and you just hear this clatter all day long of people combing through for lens cap. So hopefully that'll make you feel good. If you come back, I have this great little area that is all rummage right now. So
I almost want to come back because when I was there, there was a lens there that was a contraption that hadn't been priced yet. I'm a Graflex guy. I like 4x5 Graflex. And there was this brass lens that someone had connected to a piece of galvanized pipe about 1.5 feet long.
Oh my God.
And it had this bracket. It was built to had a big base that was the size, 8.5 by 14.
Yeah.
It was built so that you could mount a Graflex 4x5 on it because it couldn't support the weight of the lens because it was huge.
Yeah.
But it was this beautiful lens in a case that the guy had just come in and they didn't have it priced yet.
Oh, wow. Wow. Yeah,
I wanted that at the time.
we do end up with all sorts of crazy stuff like that. I mean, like, stuff that people modified over. It's actually really fascinating. Sometimes we get stuff in that obviously nobody has touched for, 40 years, and somebody had hand kind of, built some sort of contraption, and sometimes there's notes with it and what they were. I mean, it's amazing some of the stuff that we see. So
back in the 80s, when I was living in Atlanta, I worked next door to the original KEH camera.
Oh, wow.
And the original KEH camera was about the size of an abandoned Kroger's.
Wow.
And it had glass cases down the sides, but the entire center was nothing but card tables with junk laid out.
Wow.
And so the original KEH, they didn't have everything like organized like now, where it's like a organized warehouse where they know exactly that each Leica lens is in row 23, aisle 5. This was literally rummaging through bins and hoping that you find the make that you were looking for, let alone the item you're looking for.
Yeah.
And you'd ask them and they'd say, "Yeah, it's out there."
There's something so satisfying about that. And I almost feel like that's why I wanted to bring back, I'm calling it that's the Darkroom Aids bargain area, right? I wanted to bring that back because there's something so satisfying about that as a photographer or as anybody that loves cameras that I think is kind of an inherent thing that a lot of us have is, well, if I put this with this, I could do this. It's like, you come up with your own little solutions to stuff, right? So yeah, that's amazing. It's part of the whole experience, I think.
I love that stuff. I've known so many photographers. I'm just of the right age that I knew a bunch of guys that are now not able to shoot anymore. And I mean, just last week, a friend of mine that owned a camera store said, there's too much stuff in my house. Come and get this. And so he brought like a ready case, big fiberglass case from a Graflex, completely full of eye cups and everything else. Love that stuff.
Yeah.
Just digging through it. I've got way too much of it. I should show up my own store.
There you go.
One of the more interesting things that we just acquired was from Richard Rose. His father and grandfather, along with having the camera store, they also were commercial photographers. And they made what he called a squirrel cage flash. So it's basically 3-gallon tomato cans cut in half that will hold 6 screw-mount Edison flash bulbs. And if you look at some of the work he did, is all this industrial lighting scenes. So it's just huge. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the RIT Big Shot. They go out and basically get a lot of students to light off electronic flashes for night photography. This would be the ideal thing for that shot. It's powered by about 6 D cells and a flashlight. So it's really quite neat.
If you stand too close to it, do you get an instant sunburn?
Most likely, yes.
Todd, was that the thing that Sylvania sponsored that? The Big Shot?
Big Shot, yes. Yeah.
And Winston Link, the train photographer, the great railroad photographer. I don't want to say he popularized it, but he made it into a science. He had some great stuff with multiple bulbs.
This was something that, according to Mr. Rowe, I guess Lester Bogan considered putting into production, and he came back and said, there really isn't that much interest in this. But I just think it's really neat. You know, we have so many things. It's hard to get really excited. I mean, all the stuff is neat, but when you see something this unusual and handmade, it really kind of strikes a chord. And it came with two unopened cases of flash bulbs.
How many of us have ever gone into a community darkroom and replaced a regular light bulb with one of those flash bulbs?
I think it's a requirement, right?
How long does it take before it pops? Is it instantly?
It's instantaneous. The nice thing about it is you got a long burn time. It not only hurts right away, it hurts for a long time.
Does it smell when those things pop?
No, it's not like flash powder. It's just it's just an instant burn.
That's a prank I'm not familiar with.
Since Paul was speaking, just real quick, could I say a quick thank you to Paul? Paul, you probably don't know what I'm going to thank you for, but Hong Jun was in the shop the other day. Well, Hong Jun lives there.
Yeah.
I see him more than I see my family members because he's there pretty much every day. But he came in, and it was right after the show in Ohio, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And you had given him a copy of the great big photo
McKeon's. It was a hardbound McKeon's guide.
So we have not had one at Central Camera since the store burned down. And I want to thank you by way of Hong for the McKeons, because we now have one again. So
I'm so glad that's where it went.
That's where it went, and thank you sincerely.
Oh, you're welcome. I'm glad.
That was Kurt's. It was from Kurt, right, Paul?
No, it was from the Burgess auction.
Okay.
But Hong helped me load my truck.
Oh.
And I mean, you know what Hong is like. I mean, he's the Energizer bunny when it comes to anything. And so he insisted on helping me load the truck, and he insisted that I load it right rather than just throw shit in it, which is my normal procedure. And so I gave him that book, and then he told me what he had done, and I thought, man, that's just perfect.
Yeah, it was. I was like almost in tears when he gave it to me. I'm seriously, because we had one, and we always had it in the back by the old register, and it lived in a certain place, and of course all that is just gone, you know. So to see a copy, and this copy is much nicer than the one we had, which was all dog-eared.
I have like 4 of them here at home, and mine are all soft covers. That was a hard cover.
Yeah, it's beautiful. So to have that back at Central Camera really just made my day.
For any of the listeners who, I imagine almost everyone who listens to this podcast knows what the McKeon's Guide is, but it is absolutely the encyclopedia of, I don't want to say every camera, because I've seen a few that wasn't in it, but for the most part, it really is very useful in identifying particular models.
Yeah, that has a lot to do with how I got into camera collecting. I was just poking around a thrift store, and there was a copy of that for $10, and that really opened my eyes to all the interesting stuff that's out there.
Has anybody heard about this mysterious 5-volume set that he's been working on for the past 10, 15 years? Does anybody know anything?
I have a little bit. I've had some correspondence with him because I found a variant of a Graflex Super D that isn't marked as a Super D, and he said he wanted information on it. That was about a year and a half ago. He wanted to include it.
So he's still working.
I mean, just nothing more than that.
Yeah.
It was just, he was in England at the time, I think.
I gotcha.
He said he was going to come back, but
because the last I heard, it was going to be both a print, but also there was going to be an online version that I think you were going to pay like a subscription to have access to or something. But I think I heard that 5 years ago, and I don't think I've heard any like tangible update since then.
Yeah, the last thing I heard was that it was strictly going to be an online.
Online, okay.
Yeah, and I heard that it's been just a few months ago. So I think the cost of printing that a new issue and shipping it, and it would cost $500 a copy for the number that he could sell. Even printing it offshore, it would just be so expensive.
Bob, how much did it cost you when you printed your third edition of your rangefinder guide? How much did those cost to print back then?
Oh boy. Well, it cost me $6,000 just to ship them here from England. But the actual cost, I never got a figure from the printer, but I would imagine around $25 to $30 at that time.
And that was 8 years ago.
9 years ago. It was actually printed in Bruges, Belgium. And the company is still there. But the thing is, they were supposed to do 3,000 copies, and we're never. Publishers and printers are kind of like, their bookwork never really kind of makes sense to you, and you never really know what they're saying. So I never found out exactly how many copies were printed, but I had 2,000 of them shipped here, and in a container, and they had to go through the Panama Canal because it was going to end up in Oregon. But it was cost me over $5,000 just to ship them here, so that had to be added in. But now the publisher actually told me about 6 months after we did it was all done. He said, Bob, the printing industry has changed so much that if you came to me today with this project, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't even try to print it. It's just the whole book industry is in trouble right now. The cost is just too high, and the market's not there anymore either. People would rather sit in front of a monitor and read something than to have a hard copy in front of them,
Going through camera collections, either through estates or I imagine Johnny probably sees this when people drop stuff off of the show. As exciting as it is to get cool cameras and cool accessories, it's almost just as exciting to find books, like the good books.
Oh, sure.
And I had found you had given me a copy of your book, Bob, but I had a spare. And you had autographed one for me. So I took the other one and I was going to try and sell it. And I was like, you know what? No, I'm not going to sell it because you're still trying to sell yours. And I gave it to Paul, and because he had never had a copy before. And I said, Paul, this is for free. I got this from Bob. My only stipulation is if you end up not wanting it, you can't sell it either. Give it to somebody else. And, I think, Paul, you had said to me that you were well aware of how good the book was, but it wasn't till you actually started flipping through it that you realized like how great of information is in that book.
Yeah, I had no idea. The only book that I knew about that Bob had done was the Hove book.
Yeah, the second one.
Which is fantastic.
But it's like a third the size.
Oh, no, it's not. It's just a pamphlet size. It's the size of it's the size of a business envelope, but with multiple pages. I don't see how anybody who is a Nikon aficionado could not own one of those books. It's just so useful to figure out what you have.
But whether it's that book, whether it's Gert-Jan van Oosten's Pentax book, Peter Kitchingman's Canon rangefinder lens book, Peter Deckert's Canon rangefinder book, Larry Gubas's Zeiss and Historica, just all the different books that have been printed over the years. No one's doing that anymore. And to find those books, to be able to have them, they're almost becoming as great of a treasure as sometimes some of the cameras can be too.
Yeah, because of the way the industry's going, you're not going to see very many books like that anymore coming down. No.
Well, the LHSA journals were also fantastic. LFI, the Leica Photographic International, I think is what it spells out. Those were great books. And I found a couple in a box of recently, something called Exacta Times. Oh, wow. And I had never seen it. It's a small, approximately 5x7, 5x8, soft bound, and they're like a periodical size.
They were made by the New York distributor. I've never seen one in person, but I've seen scans of them. And you're right, it's like a newsletter.
I have 2 copies of those, and it's fun.
There's a bunch of them, but it was the distributor in New York would make those as both a means to inform current customers, but also to educate people. You got to figure by the 50s, if you're selling Exactas, especially in the United States, while the Exacta had some great lenses made for it, to compete with what the Japanese were starting to come out with was probably difficult. So he kind of made those as a way to like build like a user group, I guess, a newsletter, like, hey, here's what's new. Here are what lenses are. Aren't there like little advertisements in the back of it too?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So it served like almost like a catalog newsletter for them too. And I agree with you. From the ones that I've seen, they're really interesting.
The other thing I was thinking about the other day when talking about periodicals, the thing I miss more than almost anything in photographic periodical things, I really miss Shutterbug. I mean,
Oh yeah.
Shutterbug,
Oh
I read Shutterbug at lunch every day that I was at work.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just a great magazine.
yeah.
And you made friends. Bob, do you remember Jim Keel
Oh sure.
out of Des Moines?
I knew Jim. I knew Jim
I did
personally.
too.
Oh, yeah.
Jim Keel sold on Shutterbug. And he used to be the Leica rep. He was a
Yep.
Leica rep.
Yeah, he worked in I went to school at Drake in Des Moines, Iowa. He
Uh-huh.
was in Beaverdale, Iowa. I was running a camera store. Okay. And then he left there to become the Leica rep for the Midwest. And then years later, I'm looking through Shutterbug, and there he's got this ad. So I called him up and I said, "Do you remember?" He said, "You remembered me and everything, you know." So I knew him I knew him back in the 60s.
He was a great guy, and you'd call him up on the phone. I mean, he didn't know this was before the internet. You call him up, and he answered the phone, Jim Keel, and you'd find you'd have somebody on his in his ad that you wanted, and you'd say, "Oh, well, I think we can do that." And I said, well, "Okay, how much is it?" And he'd tell you how much it is, and he says, "I'll send it to you, and you just inspect it, and then when you're done, just send me a check."
Check.
And
Yep.
I said, "Jim," once I asked him, I said, "Have you ever had a bad debt?" He said, "No, no, no, never had a bad debt. You know, people buy from me are not going to cheat me."
Me neither. I do business in the same way. And I remember Jim, and I remember Ken Hansen as well.
Yep, I remember him. Yeah.
And there are others around the country. I'm from the East Coast originally, so like that's kind of like was my introduction. So, and I'm sure folks here in the Midwest who do business in a similar fashion, but I hope that folks recognize it's still being done today.
That's awesome to hear. I love this hobby, and while I want to think that we're immune to the less scrupulous people, I know they do exist, but it is awesome to hear that there's still people willing to do that and not screw people over, and just the community of sharing, and just this group of people here even on this show tonight is heartwarming to me. I'm getting emotional.
You know, I was buying through Shutterbug in like 1971. I started with Shutterbug. And in those days, you know, you're buying blind. There's no photographs, there's nothing. Okay. You're going by just the word description. You send the fellow the money and the camera comes. And I must have had, I don't know how many hundreds of transactions. I had one transaction over all the years where the item was not what it was supposed to have been. Everybody was honest. There were no crooks out there. Now with the internet,
Yeah.
look what eBay is like now. eBay is a shot in the dark. You know, you don't know
Yeah.
what you're going to get with eBay.
Exactly. Yeah.
And the pictures have all gone through Photoshop and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
You really don't know what you're getting.
Yeah.
So Dan, you have the Tamarkin auctions coming up soon, right?
Yes, sir. We got an auction coming up.
What days?
Saturday. Well, it's on right now, actually. Bidding is open. The auction itself occurs on Saturday, November 15th.
Okay.
10 o'clock Central Time. But please don't try to register that day. Register the night before.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm excited. We have a 359 lots of a lot of photographs, lots of different cameras, mostly wartime Leicas.
Can you give maybe 3 or 4 of the ones you're the most excited about? Can you do that?
Yeah, I mean the first thing that comes to mind was a camera I was just working with earlier today. That's a really interesting camera in that it's Leica number 245. And really, they began production, I think, at 114 or 117. So it's a very, very early Leica. But it doesn't present that way. It looks like a Leica 3A. It's been chromed. It's been upgraded. And whoever owned Leica number 245 went to the factory and said, "Fix me up to the latest standard." Their young man and paid whatever money it was. And they went off with a brand new silver chrome Leica 3.
Wow.
Not knowing that camera today would be worth millions of dollars, of course. But so that's pretty exciting camera. We also have, you know, it's the 100-year anniversary of the Leica, 1925 to 2025. And so we have a lot of concentration on Leica 1 Model A, Model B, Model C. So we have a lot of early Leicas, one of which, the last lot in our auction and featured lot, is Leica number 456, which is a Leica 1 Model A L-Max camera that was actually in our auction about 5 or 6 years ago, and the gentleman who bought it is ready to ready to turn it on to a new loving home. And so I'm pleased to say that we have this LMAX camera back in our auction again. And the other one, I mean, there's a lot of really interesting stuff. There's a camera that was used by Dr. Paul Wolf, a Leica 3CK camera. And it says in the entry in the ledger in the Leica archives for an indefinite amount of time. And so his camera had broken or was in repair, whatever, or he lost it, whatever. And so they lent him this camera, and we have it in our auction.
Oh, wow. So he had another camera. They loan him this one, and that's it.
Presumably. And my guess is a serious photographer like that, like many of us here tonight and many of us listening out there, have more than one camera and perhaps many cameras. But Dr. Paul Wolf was known to use the Leica camera, was an early pioneer of the camera in 35 millimeter in that Leica format. And we have some of his prints, we have some of his books, and we are fortunate enough this year to have his camera.
So, Dan, are you afraid that Leica is going to call you up and say, yeah, we want that back? That was a loaner. We want that back.
The librarian's going to call him up.
Yeah, the archivist calls me up. Yeah, you get a call from like it's like the Federal Bureau of Leica. No, I'm not really worried about that because every problem has a solution. It's also not mine. I as Tamarkin, as the auctioneer and Tamarkin Auctions, really for the most part, I'm the conduit. There are some things in our auctions that either I personally own or Tamarkin Camera owns, the retail end of the auction company. But for the most part, these items are consigned. And when people consign them, they declare that they're free of any encumbrance. And so if an encumbrance occurs and somebody says, yo, that's my camera, well, cross that bridge when we come to it. But while I would never do anything untoward or unscrupulous, these things do happen. And so I have no idea what would happen if that occurred, but we'd figure it out. But meanwhile, it's going to go to a new loving home.
I want to ask you, I have to ask you, Dan.
Yeah.
What's your position on the Light Lens Lab?
I can tell you that I've used their lenses and the build quality is terrific. The image is terrific. I don't think that they necessarily are full accurate representation of the lenses that they model their lenses after. I think that their Light Lens Labs are kind of higher contrasty, but the build quality is terrific.
I agree with you about the lenses. Anthony and I both have the Super Pancro Type 250, and I have the 35-8 element, and I've compared that 35-8 element to the Leica lens.
Yeah.
And it is slightly more contrasty, but it didn't have, if you're familiar, I'm sure, with the 35-8 element Leica lens, almost all of them are full of haze, and you can't really get them cleaned. I actually had better results with the Light Lens Lab camera than the particular Leica lens that I tested.
Yeah, I mean, I think especially the peril of the 8-element Summicron in all its variations, M3, non-M3, in all of its variations, the peril of that lens, I think, and the price these days, I understand why people like it. It's a terrific lens. I've used it. The bokeh is beautiful. It's a terrific little lens. I understand why people chase it. For my money, I would get a 35 f2.8, especially if you're going to be shooting on digital. Who cares if it's 2.8? You still get fall off. I mean, what's the big deal? The Summicrons are not as prone to that sort of optical duress. If they're much less commonly hazy, and I find them to be a little bit easier to clean. But I'll tell you that if I didn't have all this wonderful Leica stuff at my fingertips, I would go for a Light Lens Lab and then bring it in to Capture One and drop the contrast a little bit, and voila.
Yeah, I'm shooting it on an M10R or an M10 monochrome.
There you go.
So you do whatever you need to do with them.
And if you're shooting film, you can adjust it in the darkroom just the same. So, and this, I tell this to people that walk into my store too. I'm like, buy the less expensive lens, take your partner on holiday.
Yeah. Well, the other one that I wanted to ask you about, how many you see steel rim Summilluxes?
Well, it's not a fair question. You mean the reissue one or the original?
No, the new one, the old one, the original.
The old one. It's not a fair question because I see it's a fair question. I'm just not a good gauge. I have in my hot little hands 3 or 4 of them. Last year in the auction, we had 3 or 4 of them, including one in black finish. I see them relatively frequently. I think that they come into the marketplace in fine condition. That's also a perilous lens, and they don't age well. But they don't come into the marketplace very often. But I see them relatively frequently, mostly in the M3 variety. The M2 variety is harder to find, and certainly the M2 variety with that is without the goggles is what I mean by M2 variety. The M2 variety in black anodized, or some people like to call it paint, whatever, black anodized, those are really rare. And one just came up, I think it might have been at Lars Netapil's auction last week, but or maybe it's coming up, but somebody somewhere recently had one of these 35 steel rim lenses that has a black steel rim, black anodized and black, like matte black, almost like a brushed aluminum look. I mean, look, when Leica was making this stuff in 1962 or whenever it was, and really up into the 80s, nobody was thinking, oh, you better not put that part on that lens because it's not going to be right. They were like, make a lens, get it out the door, sell it, make it happen. And there was never really any consideration at the factory back in the day about what part went on what lens. The thing worked or it didn't.
For those of you who aren't familiar, it's probably one of the most expensive lenses that Leica on the used market today, probably one of the most expensive lenses you can find. The lens hood for that lens is called an Ollux, O-L-L-U-X. If you can find one in good condition, they sell for over $1,000 for a lens hood.
It was a terrible design, and they all fell off and got trampled underfoot. So there's more. There are more
lenses than there are hoods.
Marwan, I'm curious to know: have you heard anything about the Light Lens Lab peel apart film?
Well, my colleague Herman is in contact with them, so I'm not following up this part. But in our magazine, we'll definitely write something about it in a future issue. But I'm not informed about that.
The peel apart, I think, has been generating headlines lately. The possibility that they could be bringing that back. There was a company about 5 or 6 years ago that reverse engineered some kind of peel apart instant film, and they sold it one sheet at a time.
Well, that was in Vienna.
Yeah.
You remember that? Okay. And I remember seeing images of it, and it was very early. Like, it was like Polaroid originals early in terms of quality, nothing even remotely close to what Fuji had last done. But I had hoped that would signal further development, and it never seemed to do that. It seemed like that was a dead end. So while I think many people are extraordinarily excited at the possibility that peel apart could come back again, and if it would, there's a whole legion of Polaroid peel apart cameras that are going to become immediately valuable. But that fantasy is just, I still think it's a pipe dream. I feel that the science needed to make peel apart work as well as Fuji was doing it and Polaroid was doing it when the real Polaroid. I just can't see, for those of us who remember, especially the FP100C, the quality of the images was just outstanding.
Yeah, and part of the challenge is a lot of the chemistry that goes into making that stuff is basically illegal now.
Sure.
Like, there are countries where you can't use this chemistry, these chemicals anymore, which is part of the reason Fuji stopped making it, you know?
Yeah. That's why you can't get Kodachrome anymore. You won't get mercury batteries anymore.
Sure. Exactly.
But I'm actually more excited about the fact that they've actually announced they're not just making the peel apart, they're making a whole range of film, including color film and black and white film and so on. I mean, that to me is a little bit more exciting because from a realistic point of view, because I think that's something they can probably do.
I'm excited for anything new. I mean, I kind of would like to see more movement on films outside the 100, 200 speed. But, that seems to be where we're seeing a lot of stuff keep coming out. But I'll take what we can get. It would be great if we could get fresh 3200 film again. It would be great if we could get fresh super slow speed film again. So I don't have to keep dredging up saved search articles on eBay for slow 25 speed black and white emulsions.
Well, I think the problem of the lower slow speed films, they had always this fine grain. But if you develop, for example, T-Max 100 in the right developer, you are just getting the same grain like with an F25 or an Agfa APX25. So I think they had an RMS of 8. And even if you develop T-Max 100 in the right way, you come in very, very close to that. The only advantage is when you are using very slow speed film in the studio, then you can do cool magic, but you can achieve the same with the gray filter. And if you have a faster film. So I think maybe that's the reason why we don't have that many slow films anymore.
Yeah.
Well, and by the way, there is also Pan F. I wonder why people don't use Ilford Pan F. It's a beautiful film.
I love Pan F.
You can use it.
Great.
Take HC 110 or something like that, or even Neophene Blue, Pan F, Neophene Blue, and expose it to ISO 25, and then you get really great material. The grain is that fine even on 35 that you have problems when you want to enlarge it and you want to put the focus on the grain. It's really a wonderful film.
I love Pan F and 120,
but most people don't use it. Most people don't use it. I'm surprised. Even younger people, they don't use it. And Ilford is not really, or Harman is not really promoting it in the best way, I have to say.
I've been using Pan F a little bit lately, sometimes in old box cameras, and I put a roll in a Zeiss box Tenger, and the results just blew me away.
Yeah.
I've been developing it in diaphine, which gives you a slight speed boost, and it really tames the contrast that you sometimes get with Pan F. It's just absolutely beautiful.
The only problem is it doesn't have a good shelf life, especially when you've exposed it. You have to develop it quite quickly. You can't really put it in your bag for a year and develop it later. Then the quality goes down. But it's an amazing material.
I don't know if any of you folks follow Mark Osterman on Facebook. He actually is making a single coat 100th anniversary film for the Leica. He's made some pretty good success with it. It's about ISO or ASA, if you want, of about somewhere around 15, I would say.
Mark's an interesting guy. I've talked to him several times.
You said making. Does that mean it's not out yet, or you can get it?
He makes it one roll at a time, single coat, in his basement.
I see. Okay, so it's not for wide consumption then.
Ilford or someone, or was it who gave him somebody gave him the base?
Ilford is supplying the base. I can't get into where he got the perforator from.
Oh no, he did post something about his perforator.
Yeah.
That I think you know where it came from.
We're all winking one eye right now to each other.
Yeah, no, but it was legitimate. It was
legit. I mean, I have the perforator that he was using when he was doing it at the museum. He's improved it quite a bit since then. So it is kind of interesting to see where this goes. From what I understand, there's talk of making a documentary about this, and who knows what's going to happen next.
Hey, Eric, do you want to share with us that Corfield camera right in front of you?
Oh, sure. Yeah, this is one of the more interesting things in my collection. This is a Corfield 66. So the Corfield company is mostly known for the Paraflex cameras.
Right.
But towards the tail end of their camera manufacturing, they came out with this 6x6 SLR. And so it's, kind of the same basic idea as a Hasselblad, and it was kind of designed to be kind of a budget version. If you couldn't afford a Hasselblad, it's got a radar Rolex type back on it. You open up the little window here to see the numbers. They came out with this in like 1961, and I guess they made enough parts to make 300 cameras, and then the parent company just pulled the plug on the camera manufacturing division, and they never made any more.
Okay.
So it's a pretty rare camera. This one has an unusual lens on it, though. This is a Zeiss lens. I looked it up. It's from like the late 20s. It's a Zeiss SR.
I was going to say that lens is way older than that camera.
Yeah, it's in a mount that's actually made by Luyckx. I don't know what this came off of. So somebody probably adapted this camera for portraits. It's a longer focal length than the standard lens would have been. But it has the same mount as the regular Corfield lens. So you could take this off and put the standard lens back on if I had one. I don't have the lens for it, which is why I was able to get this camera for a decent price.
Eric, I think that the focus helicoid is made for a bellows unit. made by Luyckx for a bellows unit.
Okay.
And I'm almost certain that it's called a VXOOF or something like that. It's got some crazy code name. And we have boxes of them because nobody really does bellows stuff anymore. But seeing that rare camera that you have, which is super cool, and hearing you say that the helicoid is Luyckx, I think I know what that part is.
Okay. Well, that's nice for me to have some idea where it came from now.
Well, and if you need a spare one, then you could just contact Dan. And
Absolutely. Or if you come across another one of those cameras, let's outfit it with a vintage Zeiss lens. I'm sure we can make something happen.
Yeah.
Is it a dial set shutter?
It is a focal plane shutter.
Okay.
And
I can't. I was looking at the picture.
Yeah, but I don't know what they were thinking when they designed this camera, because I mean, sure, it would have ended up being cheaper than a Hasselblad, but it's really a 1930s camera that they were going to try to sell in 1961. There's no mechanism for stopping down the lens, so you have to remember to close the lens down before you press the trigger. You have to wind the film and shutter separately, and it's just amazingly primitive for a 1960s camera.
Yeah, and if I didn't see the number 66 literally on it, I would assume that was a 6x9 camera, especially with that back you have on there. So
yeah, the back just has a 6x6 opening on it.
Yeah.
Just a question: is that thing made in the United States?
No,
this was made in Northern Ireland.
In Ireland,
because I have seen in the 80s there were some people importing cameras from China, and there was a camera called Great Wall.
Yeah, it looks like a
looked
Great Wall.
Exactly like
it
that
does.
one.
They do have a resemblance. This probably weighs 3 times as much as one of those.
And I just thought maybe it's an imported and rebranded, like a lot of Kiev cameras had been in the United States or in Europe, where they just get different names because they didn't want to have communist cameras back in the days.
There's a Marky Smith line that I always think of from The Fall, if anyone knows The Fall. When I see odd British cameras like that, the line is made with the finest British attention to the wrong detail.
Yeah, that sums up this camera pretty good.
Yeah, right, exactly.
I saw The Fall at the Metro.
Ah, there we go.
like a big Ross.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
So we have a bunch of people who haven't spoken. AJ is usually so chatty. AJ, maybe show off your wonderful Camerosity Podcast T-shirt so that Johnny can get excited about selling them at Central.
Wow. Photo Lab Index. Yeah.
There we go. Yeah.
Oh, Pat's got his on too.
There he is.
So AJ, we got some VIPs here. Do you have any questions for anybody?
I'm completely stunned and just listening.
Okay.
This time around.
Yeah. Will Pinkham? Will? Anything?
Yeah, I'm like AJ. This is like massively intimidating, but wicked cool. It's really cool. I do have
true.
I do have a question that I was thinking of earlier in the day. I've always shot SLRs, and I don't know, lately the past few months I keep seeing a lot of things and getting really intrigued by shooting rangefinders. I can't quite afford maybe a sweet Leica. What would a recommendation be for like someone wanting to approach a completely manual rangefinder experience?
Before anybody gives their recommendations, do you want interchangeable lens or fixed lens?
Yeah, that's a good question. So interchangeable lens would be fantastic, but I really actually find I shoot a lot with just a 50. It's not critical that it be interchangeable. The one thing I find that I really like is that the viewfinder is completely the full frame, because I like to work with the edges.
You need a Nikon S2.
Yeah, I would agree with Robert. A Nikon S2 is probably the best. It's a great value right now. I mean, you can buy them. They're repairable and they're reliable. So when I say reliable, assuming it's been repaired at some point within the past 20 years. But it's hard to beat a Nikon S or a Canon. Canons are also quite good.
Absolutely, 100%.
Very reliable.
The S2 fulfills one of the stipulations you had. It has a full-size 1-to-1 viewfinder. Okay. It only has one frame line in it for 50 millimeter, so it's not cluttered. The viewfinders have held up all these years. There's no haze, no fungus, anything wrong with the front. And the shutters have lasted forever. Okay. It's a nice cloth focal plane shutter. There's no self timer to worry about. It's rapid wind, rapid rewind, 1/1000th of a second. I mean, it's got everything on it. Of all the Nikon rangefinders, it's the best one to shoot with. Okay. Over the years, I've gotten countless calls and emails from people saying, "What is the best Nikon rangefinder to shoot with?" And I keep telling them the S2. That's perfect. If you want to just go out and shoot, the S2 is the best.
Yeah. And the Leica salesman will tell you to shoot an S2 as well.
And that's something too. I mean, as great as many of the Leicas are, there is a steep cost of entry into the M series. Mm-hmm. And the screw mount Leicas are great shooters, but you have to get used to the small viewfinder though. And I actually prefer shooting Leica standards with the 50 millimeter accessory viewfinder on top. To me, that's my favorite way of shooting a Leica is actually that way. Johnny, it's been so long since I've seen you. Are we still in love with the Green-O-Matics?
Oh God, I love the Green-O-Matics. Yes, I do.
Petries?
Yep, I love them. Always and forever.
You know, I'm always going to suggest a Kiev 4A, which is like the Kiev version of the Contax 2. It's for the price, you know, it punches way above its weight for its price. And I also like the Canon VT Deluxe, which gives you access to all of the Leica screw mount lenses. It's got the trigger winder built in. It's got some really neat little tricks to it. It's undervalued right now. You can get one for a fraction of the price of these other cameras.
And it's got a rotating viewfinder, so you can actually, when you put on different size lenses, it adjusts the whole viewfinder, so you still get your edge to edge, even if you're putting a 35 millimeter lens on there.
That's a great feature. If you don't know what he's talking about, Will, is you can actually rotate the prism inside the viewfinder. And what I love about the Canons that can do that, the first model that did that was the 2B. And you can actually mount an auxiliary viewfinder on it, and then you can rotate the viewfinder to, it's like 135 millimeter, but it actually has like a letter. I think it's an F. If someone wants to correct me. But basically, you're turning the entire viewfinder into the rangefinder patch. So in terms of how easy it is to use the rangefinder, you basically have magnified the entire viewfinder and the camera to be the rangefinder patch, which makes it incredibly easy to focus. And then if you have a clip-on viewfinder, then you get your life size that you're looking for. So Theo's got, that looks like a VT Deluxe also. Before he stops talking, my recommendation for Canon would be the P, but I like the VT Deluxe as well.
I do have the VT Deluxe. In fact, that's not what I did grab though. But it is, have a look at Photo Thinking. I did review that camera, and it is a fantastic camera to use. And the rapid advance is actually really cool too. What I did want to grab, just before I actually grab the camera, I was going to say there's another option if you're happy with a fixed lens, which is pretty good too. But is the Green-O-Matic, just for Johnny. This one's been reskinned. Of course, this one's been reskinned, and to the point where they even got the around the label. So this is nice. Cool. This is pretty cool.
I have a couple of old Petri cameras. I love those cameras.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it looks like a fun camera. Unfortunately, this one I think probably needs a service before I can actually get it going again.
Yeah.
My favorite Petri by far is the Petri half.
That's not. That looks really nice actually.
The Petri half is so cool.
You have that. Look, I've got a Olympus 35 RC here. I think there's an RD as well. I mean, if you're happy with a fixed lens, they're really good too. Really light, small, and the quality from the Zuiko lenses is just phenomenal too. So that's another option to sort of consider there if you're if you're happy with a fixed lens.
And that's all manual.
Oh yeah, it's all manual. It's got the speeds on the thing and so on. Maybe the other model is the one with the actual manual part of it. But yeah, it's all cool.
Yeah, nice.
Oh, sorry. I was going to throw out one more thing is if you're at all interested in a Leica, I just got to say I'm at a point where the only camera I really need anymore is a Leica 3A screw mount because I can put all the lenses I love on it. They're beautiful. And you can talk to Dan Tamarkin about those. He's always got them. He always has amazing prices on them. They have a history, a lot of them to them. I think they're gorgeous cameras, and you throw a 50 millimeter, viewfinder up on the top and you have this beautiful view of everything. You don't have to worry about the viewfinder and the camera. So that and I'm with Mike on the Leicas without the bare bones ones without a viewfinder or anything on them. And you just pop your own viewfinder on top. But the Leica 3s and the 3As, that's where I kind of got to on my journey with everything. They're just gorgeous,
My 3A for the last 3 years has been on my shoulder every single day.
They're
even
gorgeous. Yeah.
They're fantastic cameras. Yes, the viewfinder is small, but you get used to it.
Yeah. Throw a viewfinder on the top. Problem solved.
That's right.
Yeah.
Johnny, you got to let me know if you want to get rid of that black paint camera that I sold you. Because if you want to sell that, come to me first. Because I want to buy that camera back. If you
really, I don't think I could. If anything, I want to get another one from you.
Okay. Yeah. No, I know how it goes. Believe me, I know how it goes. Johnny bought an absolutely gorgeous and historic, like a 3. It was a 3, right?
Yeah, 3.
Yeah, 3 with a 50 Elmar. And with a terrific story behind it.
Yes.
The whole kit and caboodle. So I just want to make sure it stays up in the family.
Oh, for sure. It's that would never go anywhere. Yeah.
Right on.
Yep. I love that camera so much.
There's a little learning curve with the Barnack Leicas, since they're a bottom loader, but you get over it pretty easily. All you got to do is trim the leader and you're good to go.
Yeah.
And let me just reiterate that you get over it very fast.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That is one of the more mystifying things about the anti-Leica movement is bottom loaders. You'll figure it out the second time you do it. The first time you're going to mess it up. But the second time you don't need to get the templates, you don't need to get the spoobie or whatever it's called. Just get a pair of scissors and just cut about 10 centimeters off. You don't even have to be that accurate. It's going to be fine.
I've just learned that whenever I take out one of my bottom loading cameras, I just look at the rolls of film I'm bringing with me and just pre-cut the leader before I leave the house, and I'm good to go.
That's it.
Right.
Yeah.
It was never an issue until Kodak decided to shorten the leader.
Right. Yeah, they used to make films with the leader already the correct length, and then they shortened it. But it is absolutely not a hard thing to do. It's like when people complain about spooling 620 cameras.
Yeah.
Just take a 120. It takes you 90 seconds to do in a dark bathroom and you're done. I would say loading a bottom loading Leica or even a Zorky, it's not hard at all.
Eric, is that a flash on your 3?
Yes, this is
That's a Cardin
made flash unit called a Flashtronic. And it's actually a generator flash. There's no batteries. This is a mechanical generator. And you wind up this knob on the bottom. And this clamps around an early Leica that does not have its own flash contacts. This one here is actually a Cardin rangefinder.
Okay.
So they sold this flash unit for the Cardin and the early Leicas. And when you activate the button up here, it mechanically pushes down the shutter button on the camera.
Oh.
And after, 80, 90 years, it still works.
That's awesome. It's like a Faraday flash.
Yeah. They also made a dedicated one for the Rolleiflex Automat and a couple other cameras. So they're out there. They're not easy to find, though. I saw this one. It had the original box, so it said, the instructions on it said for Cardin or Leica, which is how I found it. I was just looking for Cardin stuff online, and it popped up, and I was like, I got to buy that.
What's the name of the flash again?
The company changed its name at some point. This one is labeled, it says Flashtronic by Cotco, but they changed their name at some point, and it had been sometimes you see some that have a different company name on them.
And you have to put the sync speed on X or FB.
This camera doesn't have any sort of sync.
Okay.
It just mechanically pushes down
the
shutter button. And there is a sleeve here that you have to adjust, and you probably have to play with it quite a bit to get the setting just right to get it to fire simultaneously.
I assume you need to be at slower shutter speeds. You don't want to, or will it work at the fast speeds?
So obviously it's a focal plane shutter, so you would have to have a pretty slow speed.
That's really neat. I like that idea. It's not a flash, but The closest thing I could think of is that goofy auto winder they made for Alpa cameras, where the thing like circles the entire camera and it physically moves the lever for you.
Have you ever heard of any great photographer using an Alpa camera? I mean, there are Magnum photographers using whatever camera, but I've never even seen a photo with an Alpa. So it's just like seen price tags of Alpas, but never photos.
I think the Alpas are for people with very deep pockets who want to be a great photographer.
Maybe.
Careful now, because we know a podcaster who loves the Alpas.
I was going to say it's the official camera of the coastal elites.
I will say, I will come to Alpa's somewhat defense, is pretty much every lens you can get for them, though, is outstanding. So they do come with excellent optics. Somebody asked me recently, they had the opportunity to pick up 1 or 2 different Alpa bodies, and one of them was, I think, the Alnea 7 or something, and it was either that or a 9SI or something. I was like, go with the 9. When you use that 45-degree viewfinder, we've talked about this on the Alpa episode, so I won't beat a dead horse, but it is not intuitive to use. I'm sorry.
I actually got a camera suggestion for you. The Volta Voltini 2.
Oh.
This is a 1930s camera. They came with the Snyder Xenar, the Xenon, and actually the Luyckx Elmar.
Yep.
And they cost way less than a Leica.
Yeah.
There were quite a few companies that had Luyckx lenses back then. I mean, you don't really think of Luyckx Leica being a lens company, even though they made lenses for themselves. But there was a period of time where there were a lot of other companies that made Leica lenses or Luyckx lenses available on them. Kodak even had the pupil you could get with a Luyckx lens. There might have been 1 or 2 other ones as well. So they were pretty prolific, and you could find them on a couple different brands. And of course, today those are collector valued, very high.
Of course. I'm a big fan of Welta cameras. Is that what it is, William? It's a Welta.
Yeah, this is a Welta Voltini 2. This one specifically was from 1938.
It looks in beautiful condition, and I love the name Weltini.
Well, yeah, the name's very interesting. But yeah, I'm a big fan of this camera.
Awesome.
This one has the Super Xenar. I think they put Super Xenars in the 30s Weltas.
Yeah, and all terrific lenses. I have a Welta in my collection, reminded me of a weird TLR.
The Perfecta.
The Perfecta. And there's also such a thing as the Superfecta, which is pretty cool. But so I'm not all about Leica, but I love absolutely any old weird camera. Yeah. And William, when you said Welta, it jogged my memory. So I popped up and grabbed this. I've seen a bunch of these sorts of cameras, and being steeped in Leica, I really don't know a whole lot about them. But if any of you ever find a Welta with a Leica lens, please let me know, because I want it for my collection.
Yeah, I've seen 2 of the Weltinis on eBay with the Luyckx Elmar, but they're about $800, give or take.
They're bonkers. That's too rich for my blood.
Well, Dan, there's the verb of Ekmaning cameras, but you could Ekman the Superfecta, and I have a pretty thorough review of it.
Yeah, I saw that actually. It's pretty
you
cool.
did? Okay.
I was glad to see. In fact, Mike, I'm pretty sure that's where I heard about it first, and then kind of like you do, I started to see it around.
Yeah. The big difference between the Superfecta and the Perfecta is the Superfecta, the back rotates, so you can shoot portrait and landscape 6x9. So
I like it.
In addition to it being a folding TLR, it's also got a rotating back to it too. It's completely crazy.
Right, as if the camera isn't crazy enough to begin with, then the back rotate.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mike, which one was that you said?
What Dan is holding up is the Perfecta, which is a folding 6x6 TLR. And then the Superfecta is significantly larger because it's 6x9. But in addition to it being a 6x9 TLR, it also rotates. And the coolest thing, Dan, I really hope you can find a Superfecta, because the coolest feature of that camera is the waist level finder is square, but it shoots 6x9.
Huh.
There's masks, metal masks, that when you're in portrait orientation, they go up and down. But when you rotate the back, the two masks rotate 90 degrees and they pivot, masking off it in the other direction. So your view through the viewfinder is correct aspect ratio for it's true. And it's all mechanical. There's these like two metal fingers that move as you're rotating the back that turn it from portrait to landscape. It's so cool.
I have to have one.
Yeah, you got to find one.
Oh, I'm curious now.
If I could cut in a little bit here, in part of the 100 episode history of Camerosity, we did actually gain a co-host along the way, and we haven't heard much from him today. So
we've been shunning Stephen.
It's all right. There's been so much fascinating talk going on. I've just been enjoying listening to all the stories.
Anybody else? Greg McCreash, we haven't heard from you.
Greg, what's new with you? What, have you picked up anything cool lately?
Yeah, I've picked up some cameras, but I don't have them here. They're back in my barn. I was going to show you guys. I had this one little folder that I looked it up as a 1909. It's got a Carl Zeiss lens on it, and I couldn't believe the lens on it is like it's like that big for a little bitty folder camera. And I wanted to show it to you guys and see what you knew about it, but unfortunately, I don't have it up here. I do have something. I know this is completely different because you know what I do for a living, but this is the new Fuji GFX 100, which looks like a rangefinder on steroids, but 100 megapixel camera that I'm playing with at work to test out. So,
what lens is on there?
I think this is like the 23.
That's an expensive kit you got right there.
Yeah, but anyway, that's all I got for tonight.
Okay, all right.
Todd, I just want to let you know that the hosts have a private chat, and we've been looking at flights to Rochester. So far, I've got everybody beat. I can make it from Orlando to Rochester round trip for $100. So you may be seeing me sometime at the end of the month.
It's a 450-mile drive for me, but I can always go to the Bully Hill Winery while I'm there and load up a couple of cases of wine to bring home. So,
well, then maybe I'll just drive to Paul's house and just go with him.
And Todd, it's 2,000 Australian dollars for me, so it's not going to happen, unfortunately.
No.
Well, I do have a son, or a gentleman bringing a son by on November 3rd for his son's birthday. So I'm going to give a tour of the collection for that. So I'm willing to do that if you give me a little bit of notice. And just give me a shout. Email's pretty simple. Just todd@eastman.org, and I'd be happy to show you guys around.
Possible to make an interview with you. I would like to get you in contact with with one of our editors, because I think that could be a cool thing about that that place. So, and the same with Mike, because I think we would like to have something about your podcast as a story. So
yeah, that'd be great.
I think I need all your emails of you guys, because I would like to contact some of you.
You've got mine already, so
yeah, I do. That's easy. That is easy.
I am, Johnny, just going to order some Camerosity t-shirts, whether you want them or not. I'm literally just gonna drive them there and put them on the counter. And say, I don't know, $20 a piece. I think that's fair. Well, I don't know. What do you sell your t-shirts for?
We sell Central Camera t-shirts for, I think they're $24.95 now.
Okay, $23.95 Camerosity t-shirts.
Yeah, by all means. And I'm now that you say this, Mike, I'm gonna pester as many podcasts as I can to get their swag into Central Camera and have a whole like podcast swag area. I'm gonna bother everybody. So I'm glad you planted that seed.
There's some coastal elites you're not going to want their shirts, but I fully endorse all the other ones out there. Alex has a wonderful podcast, so yeah, that'd be great.
Yep,
I'm working on one.
Great.
Yeah, AJ's a teacher. He teaches photography, so he could bring in some bilinguals, a French speaking element. Do you say podcast in French the exact same way, or is there a French way to pronounce it? Or you say podcast?
Well, here in Quebec, they use anglicisms. So it's podcast, but the actual French translation is a balardi. Balardi is the equivalent of podcast.
Okay.
Yeah.
You'd probably just say podcast though to make it more.
But we just say podcast. It's
yeah.
Here in Montreal, it's very, very bilingual.
Johnny, do you ever get people who still recognize you from the old Classic Lenses podcast?
Every once in a while, and I'm terribly embarrassed. But yeah, every once in a while, people do mention it. It comes rarely, not so much these days. But I mean, the thing is, I still see a lot of people who I originally met through the podcast who come in still that I know, So that's also really cool.
I mean, pretty much everybody here is because of this. I mean,
Yeah.
Theo is pretty much the only person that I knew before that, and you, Johnny. Paul, you were on episode 4, and then you just never left. Bob, I mean, I knew you before the podcast too, but, I met you at the Chicago show, but I met you through Johnny. Anthony, I didn't even know who you were except you being on the CLP podcast. So, just the how it's kind of networked out and branched, and people I've met through other people has kind of all been rooted from either ours or CLP for the most part.
That's amazing.
It's a beautiful thing.
It is.
Yeah. We should probably wind down. I mean, we're coming up on the 2-hour part. Does anybody have any last minute comments or recent guests?
I would just want to say really quick, I just wanted to show Dan that here are the 2 Leica 3s that I got from Dan. This is the one that Dan mentioned right here.
Yeah.
Yeah, which
a different lens.
That's the 40 millimeter Voigtlander.
Yeah, nice.
2.8 with the 40 millimeter
nice.
viewfinder. So this is the way I like to shoot my Leicas, is with a great big fat viewfinder on the top. Easy. And
Rock
this
and
one
roll.
I got this one from Dan as well. That's a 3A with a a 35 millimeter Scopar Voigtlander pancake lens on it. So, and a 35 Voigtlander 5. That's how I roll. And I wanted to show these both to Dan. They're both from him, and I love them.
Love it.
And just one more real quick. Mike mentioned the 1F, I think, which is what this is.
Yep.
Which is basically,
wow.
nothing. Yeah, viewfinder popped up on the top. I mean, it doesn't get any smaller than that with a little pancake. That's the Russar MP2, which is the 20 millimeter 3.5 lens. So doesn't get much tinier than that.
Johnny, I've got that 40 Voigtlander on my M4 too.
Ah.
It's a corker of a lens.
Isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good lens.
Hey, Mike, I threatened to bring a 100-year-old camera for the 100th episode. Conley QP #1.
Wow.
Oh, nice.
Uses glass plates 4x5, and you can put film sheets in there.
They also made a QP #2, which takes standard 120 film. So, it's a little easier to shoot.
Patrick, are you shooting dry plate or wet plate?
I'm going to be doing wet plate soon, but I've got Kodak film sheaths that fit in here, and I can put regular film in.
Oh, nice.
There's a metallic. It looks much like the septums for a Graphmatic.
Okay.
Oh, there's one right here.
With my Nagaoka, I'm shooting dry plate right now. Hopefully next year I'm going to be doing wet plate.
You just slide the film in there, and
and
that takes the place holds it in the place where the plate would have been.
Okay.
Conley cameras were made in Rochester, but not in New York. Rochester, Minnesota.
Best marketing idea ever. Hey, they're from Rochester.
For episode 70, 80, and actually it was 91, we did cameras of the 70s, 80s, and 90s. And, this being 100, I guess we technically could have highlighted cameras of the 2000s, but you're getting into the digital era, the Cosina made Voigtlander cameras. So I don't know that there's more to that little gimmick that we could do, but we may have to start back over with 100-year-old cameras like the Conley. So by the time we get to episode 120, we can really start getting into the Leica. So maybe we'll have a Barnack UR Leica on featured on that show.
Well, for 120,
I'll be there.
120 film.
That's true, right? Yeah, the possibilities are endless.
Hey, congratulations on 100.
Yeah,
Congratulations, everybody.
Congratulations, y'all.
Yeah, and I started out the show, the intro just wrote, obviously, me, Paul, Theo, Anthony, and then more recently, Steven, we have a private chat where we kind of talk about what we want to do, but I'd say 95% of the time we're just talking about BS stuff, food recipes, Anthony showing pictures of fish that he's grilling. So, we really don't talk a lot about what we're going to do on these shows. When we do have guests, I literally just blast people with emails and say, hey, do you want to be on the show? And, John, Todd, Dan, Robert, you guys all got emails from me. I don't prep you at all. I don't tell you what we're going to talk about. It's just show up and we'll talk, and we don't know who's going to come, and we just don't know the kinds of topics and things we're going to share. John, that's what we started doing. When we did episode 50, we talked a little bit more about the history with Cheyenne and stuff. Yeah. But if you go back and listen to episode 50, but then go to the end of it, like the bonus content that I always put at the end of every show, I had saved the actual audio of before John and I had turned on the audio for episode 1. We're like, okay, how do I use Zoom? I don't know. I never used Zoom before. John's like, should I go? And I'm like, no, you should go. He's like, well, I don't know what we're doing. And we're like, I don't know either. I mean, that is not fake. That is not something we just made up to sound funny. That's truly how this show started. It was the midst of the pandemic. The CLP had been dying. John, you wanted to do something new. I was bored. It's like, hey, let's do a show. And that's literally 100 episodes later, we're still doing it.
Yep. That's amazing.
It's awesome.
I hope, John, you don't stay away for another 50 episodes.
No, I can't. how am I going to say no to you, Mike? There's no way. Come on.
You won't.
No.
We don't yet have a topic for the next show. We've kind of been slacking off and coming up with new topics. I really wanted to get this episode 100 out of the way, but it'll be at some point in November. We're probably due a Euro time zone episode coming up soon too. Plus, at whatever point we record episode 101, the North America, except for Saskatchewan and I think Hawaii, and Arizona, we're not going to be in daylight savings time anymore, so that the hours will start to shift a little bit. So we'll always try to make sure that everybody's aware on the announcements of when to come. So we don't know what the next topic of the next show is going to be. We don't even have a date. We'll get this one out, and we'll let you guys know through the normal means of what we're going to be discussing. But I want to thank you guys all for coming. I mean, sincerely. I appreciate everybody's help, even, Anthony, Paul, Theo, Stephen, you guys that are here the most often. Johnny, it's great to see you. Thanks for coming back on. Todd, Robert, Dan, all you guys. I didn't list everybody's name, but thank you guys for coming, and we'll see you next time.
Great to see you.
Take care, everybody.
Take care, everybody.
Take care.
Awesome.
Take care.
Bye. Bye. You know what the good thing about it is? There's no prep to these at all. But I don't think there's once that any of us have turned up without a shirt on or something like that. So that's at least one thing. We're at least all professional enough to turn up.
Anthony was in a robe once.
Mike isn't wearing trousers, but other than
I may not have pants. No, I actually do.